Dudes, we're back. Gotta start cleaning up the rack in Mom's basement. As you can see, this is kind of horrific. So the first job today is gonna be getting this 16-port switch out of here and replacing it with a 24-port UniFi switch. So here we go. That's better. So while this thing is doing its boot up sequence here, I'm just going to get everything plugged back in. The other thing that I know you guys are going to roast me about is why am I not using the SFP ports between these two things? Well, there is no discernible speed difference between using an RJ versus using an SFP. So if I had a bunch of stuff that was all SFP together, that would be fine, I suppose. I could go to SFP if I ran out of ports. But I know that that question is coming, so that's why. All right, we've got to terminate. So I originally only asked for 4 in these, but they pulled 6. So what I'm going to do is just terminate 4 because I believe that 4 Cat 6s behind the TV is redundant. And we're going to just leave these 2 in the box. So I'm going to put a keystone right here. We'll put a blank right there, and then we'll figure out a nice faceplate for her. So I'm going to get these terminated, and we'll check back in. Okay, so all of the keystones are terminated upstairs. So now we begin the arduous process of cleaning this up. Oh my lord, I cannot wait until this is pretty. Okay, look at that. Everything is nicely labeled on the back end of this. So what we're looking at so far is this is our WAN port. This is our main Ethernet injector that goes out to the cable box so that the cable TV works. These are our 6 dry lines that we ran up behind the TV, and then on the back end of this are all of our access points. So at least at this point during the install, we have 3 access points installed. So I'm going to flip this panel around, we'll test, and then we'll move on to installing the TV. Okay, we've returned this to being an absolute terror of a mess, but at least it's neat on the back end, right? That's got to count for something. So luckily, all of our terminations, both at the keystone and the patch panel, pass inspection. Hooray! So now I'm going to go upstairs and get everything basically mounted with it, and we'll get the TV and soundbar installed. Well, we are installed. I mean, again, much like most things with this system, this is in pure temporary mode. So what we're going to end up doing is I have a chief pole that's going to come down here, and it's going to basically float this 32-inch monitor with the Sonos bar, the beam attached to it. So again, this is just a little bit of a proof of concept. Now, it's kind of weird because these cabinets have this light rail that's right here so that you can't see any of the under cabinet lights. So if you're looking at the TV, the light rail is blocking the top of the screen. So again, with the pole mount, it will be more centered in here. I mean, this is just a proof of concept to make sure that Mom likes a 32-inch monitor, which again, in the time of publishing this video in 2025, a smaller monitor that has a smart TV interface, it just doesn't exist. So I'm even using the dreaded Samsung monitor, which I really hate, but Sony does not make or at least at the time of me buying the TV, I couldn't get it from distribution, and the Samsung was the cheapest means to an end. So that being said, the system does function quite well. The beam is behind the TV. There are these in-ceiling speakers that are above the kitchen table, and then there is a little sub jail back here in the corner. And coverage is great. It thumps. The only thing that's a little bit weird is the only way that you can make it really work as a decent group in Sonos is that you set these 2 back speakers up as surrounds. So when you're listening to YouTube content or anything that isn't a movie that is mixed in Atmos or 5.1 or any of that kind of thing, it doesn't really do much. So you get the bar, or you get the beam, and you get the subs, or the sub in the corner, which, you know, it's fine. I mean, the most part, just watching YouTube videos. I mean, most people I would bet are watching YouTube cooking videos. So that's a Chef John Food Wishes video in the background. I cycled through a few of my favorite online cookers, and it all sounds pretty good. Realistically speaking, the Beam is plenty of horsepower to cover this room. And obviously nobody's watching, a crazy, we're not watching the storming the beach scene in Saving Private Ryan, although I am dating myself a little bit. That used to be the default 5.1 surround test, but it sounds good. So we really just need to confirm whether or not we are keeping the 32-inch TV. Mom hates it. She thinks it's too big, but I don't know how else to solve that problem. So if she acquiesces to the 32-inch TV, we'll mount this thing properly. And if she wants to get some under cabinet thing, we will also do that. So next, we are going to, well, we'll see what she decides. That'll dictate the next video. Okay, so unsurprisingly, Mom hated the correct TV and had my dad install this thing, the Sylvox. So now we have gone back to 1997. I believe that this was a QVC purchase from the Deborah Vance collection. So we have to make this work. So I was just looking at this, and they've been suffering with just the TV audio out of this thing for several weeks now, which they just didn't have the HDMIs plugged in. So despite them having this Sonos Beam underneath here, they were using the built-in TV speakers. So, Mom is, as far as all of the national touring clients that I have, I believe that Mom is my most difficult customer. So if I can make my mom happy, I guess I can probably make you guys happy. The other thing that I don't really quite know what the heck this thing is the VC Elite Ultra box, which everything ChatGPT tells me that my mom is somehow pirating baseball games, so we got that going for us too. So what we're going to do here is run what you brung, I suppose. She wants this TV, so we're going to install it. So the good news is behind here is A, this thing spins, and B, this is my temporary wiring job back here. And I ran 6 dry lines up here to be able to make whatever happen. So the way we're going to do this is, so right now the blue line is the TV and the orange line was the Sonos box. So what I'm going to do here is we are going to use the Sonos Era 100 Pro. That's right, the Eras Tour Pro. And one of the reasons why I spec these speakers are that they run over PoE, so that'll help with the cable aspect of things. I can just run an Ethernet line left and right for the speakers to provide them with not only signal but power to get them into the ecosystem of Sonos. Now, the good thing is about the kitchen is they have in-ceiling speakers up here with an amp in the basement. So the only thing that's going to be tricky is we need to run, I'm going to run the ARC over HDMI to the basement to put it into the amp. And then once we have that done, we are going to get the actual audio system going through the amp and then grouping these in here. So I did buy these little hangers for it, but this is a quartz backdrop and I really don't want to drill into it. So what I think I'm going to do is, because these are designed to be mounted, they have this little bolt insert in the bottom. What I think I'm going to do is I'm going to run to the shop here and I'm just going to make a adapter bracket so that I can screw these directly to the under cabinets. And I think that will actually look quite nice. So a bit overkill audio here, but I think that this will actually be kind of the move. With that being said, I think this video is getting a little bit long, so I'm going to leave you here and check back for part 87 of Mom's kitchen install.